Are we live now? Nice. Okay, Ollie, actually, we do everything we can right now to be comfortable. Now we are in the game. But I have to, I guess, introduce you for the people that don't know what's going on right now. I also don't know what's going on. So, Oline, that's her name. Very good friend of mine. And for past, maybe we know each other, I don't know, let's say a year. I don't know. But I feel like I know her for many lifetimes. So I thought she gotta pop into these lives because I feel like she is, in a way, someone that I look up to in terms of this feminine energy, in terms of this womanhood. And then we talk a lot together. We sit a lot together. We meditate a lot together. And then I thought maybe I want her teachings to be on YouTube. So I gotta force her and push her toward this world. So that's it. Yeah. But I will let her talk and perhaps say a little bit about herself. Who is she? Why is she doing here? I don't know. We'll see. Not me. Hey, how's it going, brother? I'm glad you're here, Amanda. I'm glad you're here. Okay, I will just drop the mic now. Ali, you go for it.
Thank you, mommy. It feels like beautiful to have friends that truly see you, and I know you've been trying to get me to take this step for some time, and I love how you are lovingly pushing me in this direction, because it does feel very nice. Feels like a good challenge. So I'm happy to be here.
That's nice. That's nice. We like challenge. But as long
Yes.
as it doesn't become very challenging, right?
I think
We-
that's the whole thing with like figuring out how to be in the world, and how to grow but not to be overwhelmed or completely leave behind like what I feel is these feminine qualities. Yeah. They're new to me in such an interesting way. Um
Yeah.
yeah, and I think your channel being all about chill, and I don't know, I couldn't imagine a better place like stepping into this kind of work.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. And already I told you I don't like this vertical live, but I had to go vertical. I can already see just like trolls are popping in. It's so funny that just like
I
people don't have vibes generally, these days. But I
I
think I
think
will
it's
find some
actually
familiar people inside them, but maybe we don't really pay attention to chat today
no.
because this whole thing is gonna take us away. And we got 26 people here. Damn. I'm famous. Look at that. But also, I really want to talk to people that I know, like Emmanuel is also here. And she says, I'm not a troll. Yeah, brother, you're not for sure. But it's just like very hard to control these chats. Maybe I can just like
But I
put
think actually
subscribers only. But
I think
it's
that's
fine.
beautiful.
Yeah. That
The
everyone can
trolls
call me
that
gay here.
yeah, of
What?
course, of course, and I'm sure they'll have something to
Okay.
say about me as well. But I
Okay,
think
that's
that's
nice.
that's actually something that's so relevant in my life now, because I've always been perceived, and I've always felt deeply uncomfortable and deeply unsafe being perceived, especially because then people like to give their opinion. But I think there is something to it. Like can we actually allow ourselves to be perceived and still feel comfortable? Can we allow ourselves to be deeply misunderstood? Can we allow ourselves to be, like trolled, for lack of a better word, and still show up as we are?
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
it's like it's one thing
Yeah.
to show up when it's with friends or people we know, people we trust, people we love, and it's another thing to show up and actually be seen, like
Yeah.
fully, by whoever happens to pass by.
Yeah. I'm glad that it's going on the direction of the title already. But honestly, that I don't really care so much about myself. It's like I have really good friends among these people, these trolls that are watching this, right? They're just like, I always go horizontal. And I feel like these trolls will just like annoy my friends rather than me. Otherwise, I don't really care, you know what I'm saying? But at the end, I guess they will forgive me for that. And I guess we have established enough, bond together that they just give me so much love already.
Yeah, I
So
see
I
that.
give you love. And if I don't participate so much today in the chats as usually I do, so yeah, forgive me for that and chill the fuck out. That's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Love
So,
that.
Ollie, let's say I have some questions.
Mm.
Because do you like to talk about your background or no? Like things about that today or what?
Yeah, I don't mind at all. Let
Okay.
me just do not disturb. Here we go. Yeah, I don't mind at all. I think I've made a lot of peace with my past. And
Yeah.
actually just yesterday, I was having a conversation with a friend after hosting like a space.
Hmm.
And her and I stayed behind and we were talking, and um, there was this big kind of realization I had even just recently, because I just turned 32 not long ago. Sorry, let me turn off my notifications here. I don't know why. There. So I just turned 32, and somehow I hadn't really seen it coming because I left the fashion industry over 10 years ago. I had a career as a model based in Paris, and I had agencies all over the world. And I left that industry when I was 21, so over a decade ago. But I had this conversation yesterday because I realized that there was something in me that actually thought that I, as a woman, would somehow cease to exist, or cease to be relevant, or cease to be beautiful, um, when I reached my 30s. Because in the industry, there are no women. There are no women in their 30s. It's teenagers and people in their 20s. And there was this one woman, South African, very beautiful, very kind, Denny. And I knew her in Paris. And I believe that she was 31, 32 when I knew her. And she was the oldest model that I knew, who was still working. And I already knew that I would not be continuing for that long myself, but I realized the other day that actually now I have reached her age, and she was the oldest one I knew. And I think there was a small part of me that thought that when I reach this age, subconsciously, right? When I reach this age, something will just switch and I will just cease to be. I will cease to be relevant. And what's so interesting and so perplexing is that I am only just starting. I'm only just starting to really feel beautiful, to feel relevant, to feel like I get to show up and shine my light authentically and actually be who I am, and not be some version of who society or other people would like me to be. And I think that also speaks into my background, something that I've also made a lot more peace with, which is like my family and my lineage. I'm currently in Denmark. This is where I'm from. And And I've been joking lately, like, oh, I was bred. But in a way, I was. Like, I come from part of the elite of Denmark, just north of Copenhagen. You have all these good families, fancy families, and and my upbringing has been far away from that. Mostly because my mother kind of chose to leave that life and to choose nature. So I grew up um, like in the Swedish countryside, in the middle of nowhere, far removed from from most of this life. But um, there was still a lot of deep conditioning in my family, both sides, but especially my mother's side. Deep conditioning of what does it mean to be a woman? What does it mean to hold value as a woman? And you know, it's all about being perceived. It's all about perception. It's all about gaining the acceptance, um, or admiration or adoration of other people. So it's been a fascinating life to live.
Thank you. Pretty fascinating.
Indeed. And here we are. What is life?
What is life, Ollie, huh? From from the mushroom picking in the forest, huh?
I think that's such a
To
beautiful story, like how we met. Um,
yeah,
can I tell it?
yeah, yeah, sure.
So, as I started coming into my body, and as I started to be guided by my intuition rather than my mind, which also speaks to kind of the feminine qualities and the feminine way of approaching existence, I was led to Aarhus. And one day I was by the sea and I was walking through the forest, and I just allowed myself to be led by my intuition. And then I passed Mami and his beautiful wife Ara in the forest. They were standing bent over just off the side of the path. And I just stopped and I was like, hi. And I think I must have scared you. I still remember the look on your face when you turned around. You were like, who is this person?
I was happy that you were a woman, actually.
Yeah,
But like, okay,
exactly. Safety. Okay,
that's
it's fine.
fine.
And then you were like, hi. You said hi in English. And so I just immediately switched to English because I lived abroad most of my life, so that feels super natural. Um, Even with your wife, with your partner Ara, like we are both Danish, but almost always we speak in English together.
Yeah, it's
Sometimes
funny.
we'll
Every time
switch,
I see
but
I
yeah.
see you guys are on a meeting together, and I see you're speaking in English. I'm like, damn, Ara really kind of really likes to be speaking English because she likes this personality much more,
Hmm.
and in a way she prefers to be in English because it gives perhaps a broader perspective to her. And then it's funny every time you guys are just speaking English now, huh?
I mean, I totally relate to that. I speak about 5 languages myself, and each language holds a chapter of my life, and each language holds a certain flavor of personality. Or and I think that that's also um, I think it's worth revisiting. There's a lot of kind of truth there. There's a lot to learn and a lot to unpack. Um, but ultimately, I think I love speaking in English also because I've built an extensive vocabulary in this language. Like,
Yeah,
why wouldn't I want to use it? Especially there are certain topics of consciousness or science or spirituality where maybe I've had most of those conversations in English, and so it just feels natural to continue.
yeah. I guess for
Mm.
her it's also the same. It's just like the spirituality topics maybe are just so limiting in some languages,
Mm.
and you gotta find those spiritual, places in the language, like the way you also really enjoy the Danish way of, speaking and the culture and everything. I
Mm.
guess it just depends on what you want to take from the language, right? But don't let this language thing stop you from this awesome story of how you met.
A butterfly just landed
Yeah,
on my leg. That's
yeah,
beautiful. Oh. I
that's
um
nice.
I used to be scared of butterflies.
Really?
As a child, I was uh, I was walking by the sea, and there was this piece of the land where there was always a lot of butterflies. And one day when I walked through one summer, a lot of the butterflies started to land on me. You know, first one, then two, then more, and it actually scared me. And so I became scared of butterflies. Um, I'm no longer scared of butterflies.
Now you're
Um,
friends with them.
Now I'm friends with them, and I see them as like, you know, beautiful little messengers.
But I was always afraid of kind of moths, you know. Butterflies
Yeah,
I can deal with, but moths, I'm like, oh, they're gonna just moth me. Whatever, that thing is. Like, I don't want to be mossed. They have this powdery thing, But anyways,
yeah.
I guess I already also made friends with the moth. Only cockroaches, perhaps I cannot make friend with, but the rest is fine. I can deal with them.
When I moved
Yeah.
to Hong Kong, there's a lot of cockroaches in Hong Kong. When I moved to Hong Kong, I was like, okay, well, I'll have to deal with cockroaches. I'll be fine. Until someone told me that cockroaches flies. Like they can fly. They don't do
Yeah,
it that
and
often, but
that's
they
not
can.
cool.
And I
That's
was like,
not cool.
no, because I
That's
was
not really cool.
still very uneasy with flying creatures. Um, but yeah, thankfully it never happened. I had a
Long.
friend who a cockroach was flying towards his face, and he was holding a bottle of beer, and he just took the bottle of beer and went tuk, and he just like cheers it away.
Oh,
Ay,
before
ay,
you
yeah,
before you say this story, I wanted to say, okay, you never saw a cockroach fly, so they don't exist, because I really never saw a cockroach fly, and I wanted to believe that, but then you said the
yeah.
actual observation that you saw them flying, and
I'm
that makes
sorry.
me even more uneasy now. It's just like next time we have like huge cockroaches here, right? And I
Yeah,
only imagine in the summertime they're gonna be more, and in winter so far we didn't have much encounter. I had one encounter. I was about to go brush my teeth, and then I saw it's there, and I was like, okay, maybe tonight I don't need to brush my teeth. That was how I dealt with the situation. But I don't think summertime I get to deal with that situation like that. Perhaps there will be many more. But then there are people that tells me go do cockroach therapy. But then I'm like,
yeah.
no, it's okay, thank you. But
Exposure therapy is something that I was exposed to. I almost said exposure therapy is definitely useful, but I find it a little cruel because you are exposing the person who has a great fear of something to the thing.
yeah,
Um, I
yeah,
I had a fear of edges, metal and stone, and just edges. And as you can
fear
imagine,
of edges.
uh,
Only really fear
yeah,
of edges.
yes, yes.
You couldn't find some a little bit more rare fear. Fear
No,
of edges. What
no.
kind of fear is that?
You know what it's like to walk downstairs when you have a fear of edges?
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So you're afraid of the steps all the time?
I was, and I think
Oh,
that's also why living in Hong Kong was like the worst possible place for me to be, and at the same time the best possible place for me to be because I was just exposed constantly to metal and concrete and edges all over all the time, and yeah, it was super debilitating for me.
Wow, I cannot imagine that.
Yeah, I don't really wish it on anyone. I think that's also something that I find so fascinating with the body, with the brain, with these protection mechanisms. Like our brains are powerful prediction machines. It loves to predict, and
Yeah,
um, and you know what happens is that if something, let's say, bad happens. For me, it was a traffic accident in my early teens where I knocked my teeth out and I broke this bone right here. And so it was like this, you know, and so whenever I saw an edge, my mind would loop a scenario of me knocking my teeth out on this edge. And and that's also why I eventually got diagnosed with PTSD, because I mean, I lived in it for so long that it just became my norm. But uh, today I understand that, wow, that was my survival mechanism, you know, just looping because it was stuck in that moment where it thought I'm gonna die. And so it stayed there and just looped and looped for almost 17 years, which is a long time.
wow. This definitely took a wild direction. This whole perceived womanhood, you know. But wow, it's
I think it first of all, I think whenever we create something, we have to allow for whatever like flows through.
yeah, that's the
Um,
problem.
but
Oh no, sorry, that's
I see it also as like a beautiful thing because it speaks actually into, like, it tells you a bit about my background, and it speaks into how locked I was, how fearful I was. And when you're fearful, you close up. And one of the biggest, like, that I see today, one of the biggest treasures of being a woman is the ability to receive, the ability to just receive life and to take it in and to notice and to, you know, through sensing and being in the world, just receiving, whether it's receiving from nature or source or energies or whatever it is I'm receiving at any given time. I think the fact that I was so closed up for such a large part of my life means that I today have this great appreciation um, for the feminine that is expansive and open. And while that is the case already today, I'm still very much on a journey that continues to unfold. But I see a correlation there. For me, there is a great correlation between these things.
beautiful. Yeah, I think I have enough fear of existence already, so it's okay. Let me not be exposed to cockroaches.
I see
Well,
someone
Mommy, thank
asking,
you.
but
Yeah,
aren't we all the sun or man and woman? Aren't we all the sun or man and woman? I mean, I'm not sure if I understand the question specifically, but I think we all have the masculine and the feminine within. So even though I speak on, you know, my perception of womanhood, and I feel like that's relevant because I am one, there is still the feminine qualities and the masculine qualities and energies, and we all hold both. Um, but there is something there also, like in society in general, you know, here in the West, also in Scandinavia, we're very masculine in our society. It is a it is the patriarchy that is the way that we live our life. And Mami, we've also talked about this, like how your experience of Scandinavian women, and you see, like we are very masculine. Most of us are very masculine.
Yeah. And I find it very unfortunate in a way. But I guess it's just in that society is kind of needed, you know, like in a society that really brings equal rights to a level that the society asks, because usually people ask for equal rights, because in their head they cannot consider that equal rights might bring also equal miseries, you know, equal suffering. And then the misery and suffering of a man being masculine is that being masculine, that's just like the basis of the suffering is to just be a man. And I would say the more you go toward the womanhood, the more you go toward an estate in life that you are not a man, your suffering in a way becomes how to deal with a man now. Your suffering is like now how to deal with the destruction now, you know?
Mm,
Like you get into a state that you're comfortable with your own being, but then there is another man that will not let you be comfortable, you know? So you will be like, okay, I gotta learn how to put this also away, you know, put this like masculine thing in my head away. So I would generally want to be more feminine myself, because it's just the ultimate meditation for me is when I'm in that femininity, right?
and
So for a man that observed the suffering, for me it's like, okay, now this Danish woman, they want to be suffering like me. Why do they want to do that, you know? But then they ask for equal rights, you know? It's like, okay, you gotta get the same amount of suffering. You gotta work exactly the same amount of a man, and also be treated with this whole men environment, you know, also be
mm,
treated. So you go through life really in a way, your life is very comfortable and convenient, but your mental health is like in a verge of like, what am I even doing with my life? You know, it's just like constantly there. And that's just the problem of most of the Western women, I would say, you know.
yeah,
It's like constantly on vibration that how to deal with this shit right now. But
yeah,
but then
yeah,
in even like I would say uh, the countries that they have the highest standard of living, let's say for me, Scandinavia has the highest standard of living. Like you cannot find anywhere else in this on this planet that you receive life this premium. You know, it's like okay, you got it all. Here in this country, we can provide whatever you want, from your wildest dream to the,
yeah,
even if it's your sexual desires, wildest dreams are allowed, are available, and to other part of it. So everything is just very convenient. Everything is very comfortable, and also you don't really need to deal with so many people. You know, everything is also online, and you do everything pretty much on a very high standard level.
mm,
Therefore, I would say being a woman in a way is even harder, you know, because you gotta just like be premium, you know. You cannot just be any regular woman. You gotta be like really premium woman. But yeah, I will let you go for it now, I guess.
hmm. Thank you, mommy. Mm. I I'll share that after my career in the fashion industry modeling, I I started working like a man. I started working in an office. I started working in software tech, like startups, and then kind of worked my way up and went to business school, and then I ended up working in corporate finance, and just for a short while. Um, but I really bought into the story of like, okay, well, you know, as my partner at the time would say, it's like, when are you going to have a real career? And so I was like, well, okay, I guess a real career means, I go work for some big company, and I climb the ladder and I do all the things, and then I'll have this acceptance, and I'll have this perceived value from society, or all these things. And so I had very much bought into the story that that women should also have the right to do all these things, and absolutely we should have the right. But I have reached a point in life where I understand that I would like to have the right to choose, and I would like to choose differently for myself. And that statement, if you speak that in Scandinavia, now will trigger. That will trigger because we spend so long, fighting for equal rights, but we forgot along the way that while we want to have equal rights, we are not the same. We are biologically not the same. Like, I always speak about how the man is like the sun, who has this 24-hour cycle, and the woman is like the moon, who has like a monthly cycle. And so with how work is constructed now, like, all those years like working in offices and in corporations, you're expected, it's not really spoken about, it's not really understood, it's not really something that's seen, but it's baked into the 9 to 5 work life, or the 9 to 7, or the 9 to 9. Like, it doesn't really matter how long your workday is. It's this very, like, Monday to Friday. It's a very 24-hour based rhythm, and women can absolutely handle that, but it is not where we thrive. It is not where I thrive. I thrive when I can build my life up in a way that allows me to be with the monthly cycle, which is a part of my nature as a woman. I just love that we're having this conversation, I gotta say.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's nice. Then I guess maybe we continue having this conversation after I go for a quick pee. Or you can just continue whatever. You can also, I guess, it seems like you're pretty proficient with the whole thing. You
Yeah.
can participate with the live with the people, or just continue talking. But maybe I just come back in 2 minutes. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Would you allow
This
me?
sounds
Yeah,
good.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, see you soon. Hmm. Mm. I don't know if you can hear the birds chirping in the background, but I'm really enjoying it. Did you know that birdsong actually helps us feel regulated and safe? Like, our bodies, our physical bodies feel uh, naturally regulated when we hear birds chirping, because it signals that there are no predators. If there is a predator animals, birds don't chirp. And so it's wired into our human biology that when birds chirp, we know there are no predators. And so we naturally feel more relaxed. Hmm. Hello from London. Hi. I lived in London for many years actually. A city that very much feels like home in many ways. Mm. I am from Copenhagen originally, and yeah, I've created a channel here called Oline Alive, and you're welcome to come say hi. I see our mommy is returning.
I'm here.
We've had the question come up, when is your next stream?
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know,
I
you'll have
don't,
to answer that.
I guess for now we just go spontaneous. I don't like to schedule the streams, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I promise I will bring back Ollie. That much I can tell you, you know. So I know you guys are already in love. So I think we will be here again and again and again. But I cannot promise that we go live again at all, you know.
We go with the
But
flow.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's the way
whatever
we go.
happens. But also, yeah, there are so many things I want to talk to her about things. You know, I also making this a school soon, publish it. Hopefully, I'm just keep promising this is school, but I don't publish it. But yeah, I would like to
Hmm.
have Oline, which is really hard for me to say. I usually call her Ali. So,
Yeah.
um,
We've
but
had someone
anyway,
ask we've had someone ask like for a channel or how to spell it. And because I mentioned that it's Oline Alive. And I don't know if I can write it in the chat, but it's spelled Oline. That's my name, Oline.
yeah,
And then
Oline.
alive, like we're all alive right now.
Yeah,
It's also, you can remember it by if you think about online, like we're online on a live right now, online, but you remove the first N.
nice, nice. Yeah. So this will go on. That much I can tell you. But so far, we embrace the now, I suppose, and just enjoy the time. And
Yeah.
next time, we will go live again and again. I actually want. We were supposed to talk with each other, and this time I was like, "Why we talk in private? Why not just like put it live?" So I messaged her and was like, "Ali, did did you make the channel? Is there any video?" And she was like, "No, right? There's no, no video on your channel, is it?"
Everything is unlisted. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And then I was like, "Then it's good. Then we go live. Then somehow you perhaps give yourself a chance to just maybe create your stream, you know, and that would be awesome." So I cannot tell that go follow, subscribe Ali because she doesn't have anything, and even if she had, you had to go and check what she says. If it aligns with you, then you perhaps subscribe. Just because I am saying it, that does not mean that whatever, you know.
Mm.
I just enjoy talking to Ali myself, and I thought, why not just share it? Yeah, that's nice.
I love our conversations, mommy. Like, yeah, it's just been something that I've been looking forward to. Like we speak basically every week. And it's always so nice to dive deep in and get into the nitty gritty and all the personal, and to have this mirror that you so beautifully provide, that just allows me to like, shit, you know, I see myself in a different way. And I feel super, super grateful to have this experience right now. Like, this is my first live ever in my entire life. I have never gone live.
Nice. I'm happy. I'm happy.
Yeah.
You look and sound so proficient, and I'm like, damn. Maybe I don't know her so much. Maybe she already have like a whole channel and things are going pretty intense there because you're just so comfortable with being yourself, and I'm just so happy that to
Thank
see
you.
that man, you already gone so much of the way, because you're really you. I thought maybe I see a little bit of you changes when we go
Mm.
live.
Yeah.
Like absolutely nothing. Maybe I changed, but you didn't, at all. But that's just so mind blown for me that wow, you're
Mm.
so good at this, So you gotta put up videos. Now everyone expects videos, Ollie, That's how it is. And it's so,
Mommy.
so nice. Also, so many people that are left now are the ones that I know them, and they're just so nice and sweet people.
Yeah.
Many of trolls at least gone, so that's really nice. It's possible to communicate again with the chat,
Mm.
But wow,
Mm.
20 people here, 9 likes. Damn, I'm so happy because we got Ali here.
I'm
Thank you.
very happy to be here. I wanna tell you a story.
Tell me a story.
Um, it's about being perceived.
Yeah.
So, um, I think I didn't really see it then, but I had a lot of exposure to being perceived. And I'm thinking of one instance where I did a big shoot with Vella for like hair products,
Yeah.
and it took place in the center of Paris in a park in a fountain, and a crowd gathered around as we did the shoot. And so I was standing in the center of Paris in a fountain with the whole setup and the photographers and the lights and everything. And then, just so many people started gathering around to just observe. And, I think, what was I, maybe 20 or something at this point. So I had a little bit of practice, but I still remember being like, "Oh, okay, this is a lot." When you shoot in public places, you often have like a bit of an audience, but that became like really a lot of people, and so I have so many layers there around like being perceived. And there were so many layers of so many years where I felt like, oh, okay, I'm being perceived, but I'm actually not being perceived because I never really show who I truly am. But through the years and now into my 30s, there is this shift of experiencing life more and more from the inside out instead of from the outside, how am I being perceived, and then in. And it changes everything. But all that to say is that, mommy, remember, I have years of extensive training in this.
Yeah, I am sure. I am sure. I am sure about that.
Mm,
And that, I guess, adds, you know,
mm.
too much, adds to the whole presence of yours. And that's beautiful because I would say you've been really concerned with this perception of the outside world toward you.
Mm.
Like, that was pretty much most of your life, and I guess that observation brings so much in.
I think you have to reach this point where it's like, fuck it, which is also what we agreed on before we started this live. It was like, fuck it, let's
Yeah,
let's just jump in. See,
yeah.
I love the seagulls joining us from your end.
Seagulls just, I guess,
How's the Pacific
approving.
Ocean holding up?
Atlantic.
Atlantic Ocean, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got a bumblebee on me, so let's the bumblebee go. Um, pretty good, pretty good. But the seagulls are pretty loud. It's not annoying. Yeah,
No, it's okay.
yeah, it's going pretty good. We are entering the spring, and I'm looking forward to the summer.
Mm. I'm looking forward to visiting. Maybe I should
Well,
look
yeah,
into to bug season. Make sure I don't visit during peak bug season.
yeah. But I think I prefer you come when it's like always sunny. So I guess
Yeah.
starting from May or June. But you said something about the beginning of May, right? I remember before you said you see some travel in your thingy. In your, you said I see some time that I gotta come to us. I don't know if it was beginning of May or not, but I guess that's a good time. No,
Mm.
beginning of June. Yeah, that's better because Aura's parents are also coming.
Oh,
It's better
nice.
not as them are here.
Mm.
Anyways, it would be awesome. Yeah, then we will sit next to each other and go live. That would be also nice.
I'm down for that. I most of all look forward to being together in person with the both of you, meeting the land, and sitting around the fire, which is, how our friendship began.
Yeah,
Mm.
maybe I continue the story that you were saying. So we were picking mushrooms, right?
Of how we met.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
just showed up from the back, like, hi, pretend you were wearing this orange dress, right? Oh, okay. Some person there, and then you were very excited about mushrooms, and then you needed a tent, something like that. And then I said, I have a tent. And then you were like, okay. Then we went home to give you a tent. You were supposed to go to somewhere to camp, but then you end up camping in our garden.
Yeah.
Wow. That was fun.
Hmm.
Very nice.
I remember I thought you and Ara, because you had like a little pack, like a little gear on your back, because you'd been to the beach and you had those
Yeah.
cushion like rolled up, and I was like, oh, maybe they're, backpackers, or like maybe they want to have this camping spot, because I booked a camping spot
Yeah. Yeah.
that night, but I didn't have a tent.
Yeah. It was funny. You were like,
Yeah.
what? I was like, why
Camping in
you
your garden
booked
was
a
like
camping? Yeah.
camping in your garden was like the best possible scenario, and just beautiful when you meet people. I think it speaks a lot to like when we allow ourselves to be who we are, and we kind of just enter into that flow state, and we trust, and we feel safe to open and receive and be guided, because truly that's actually the key that unlocks the feminine in all of us. Is first we need to have safety. If there is not a sense of safety, then there cannot really be an opening to receive. So there is like but then, the question becomes, how do we create a sense of safety? How do we create a sense of safety when we are perceived or critiqued, perhaps by others, but mostly I find that myself and other people are mostly hindered by their inner critic. Oh, the butterfly's back. Nice.
I see people are talking about love, love in action. Exactly, something about love is happening here. They don't know that. Of course, if I didn't love Ali, she wouldn't be here. And that's just how it is.
Mm,
There is definitely love between us, and that's something not to be afraid of. Everyone is like, funny.
yeah. Absolutely.
Well,
I think it's there's also something about kind of safety where I mean, I really see it as the key to the feminine. And that's also why so many of us are living in our minds, because we had an experience of pain or fear, and then, you know, staying with that what is alive is just too difficult. So we kind of like pop into our heads, and then we just live from here and we try to think and figure out and da 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 da. And I think there is this one thing I want to say where it's like it's one thing to be safe, like physically, you know, like right here, I'm safe. And it's another thing entirely to feel safe. Those two are not necessarily correlated. Most of the time, actually, they're not. And for example, you know, I did not die in this traffic accident in my early teens, but my nervous system and a part of me continued to live in the fight and flight, like, oh, I might die, I might die. And so even though I could sit, you know, on a couch or something soft and be like, okay, I'm safe. My nervous system and my body, my being did not resonate with that. It was not feeling safe. Even though I could tell myself over and over, I'm safe, I'm safe. It's another thing entirely to tell yourself or to think I'm safe, and then something to feel like I am safe. I actually feel safe right now in my body.
well,
And
yeah.
I think that's the biggest journey we're on. And I see also, you know, how the feminine is a challenge for men. Like yesterday when I was hosting the ceremony, there were quite a few men in attendance in the sauna, and and you know, I noticed that as we started going into kind of feeling into our bodies and what actually, you know, is coming through here, can we sit and hold space for all of this? Not all women, but most of the women were able to drop in. Some of the men were able to drop in, but there were quite a few of the men who were sitting and kind of like they started feeling something inside of them moving. They started to receive something, and then they went, oh, no, no, because we also have this, you know, again, through the patriarchy, men are told that, you know, you're not allowed to feel, you're not allowed to receive. Then you're, you know, you're too feminine, like you know, don't be a little crybaby, or don't be a pussy, don't be a girl, don't be like, you get told to have so much shame around feeling, around receiving, around being with what's alive. And that is such an obstacle for men today to overcome. And I think that, mommy, you of all people, like your layers of your depth of like, how do you say, perception or mm, consciousness is extraordinary. But you know, one of the things, and I'm not sure I've told you this actually ever before, but one of the things I respect about you the most is the
Holy
state
shit!
of
Now
your
you're gonna
woman.
praise me or what?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's the state of your woman.
Yeah, I
The
think it's
state,
pretty present.
the state of your woman is she is one of the most relaxed women I have ever met. She lives, and I'm, you know, she has her things, but like she is one of the most, and definitely the most relaxed Scandinavian woman I have ever known, like by a long by a long mile, you know. But even of all the women I've known in the world, she is so relaxed. She feels so safe to be herself. And that is, of course, like a testimony to her and her own journey. But it is very much, as I perceive it, a testament to the masculine energy in her life. Because when a woman feels safe, then she softens, then she receives, then she creates, then she lives in this yummy, flowy, you know, and that says a lot for me. When I look at a
Yeah.
man, if I'm trying to discern, you know, like what is the quality of this man, I look at his woman. And so many times the man is busy showing himself off and I'm this, I'm that, and whatever. But if I see his woman, and of course it's not only a reflection of the man, but if his woman is always fearful, if I can always sense there is fear alive in her, that is for me a clear reflection of the masculine and the quality of the masculine, the ability of the masculine to hold safety and presence.
Yeah. I mean, she is starting to scare the shit out of me now. You know, she almost levitates now. You know, I'm like, oh, you're not even walking. You're just levitating right now.
Yeah.
How do you do that? You know, and I'm like, damn, you're gonna soon fly and leave me. Please don't leave me here. You know, it's just like she's just like moving a little bit higher and higher into this whole. I don't get it. She really levitates these days. But the thing is,
Beautiful.
yeah, I think our relationship is pretty much like a handshake deal, kind of partnership of it, like the time that we did not really have so much to consider as a contract, you know. Like back
Mm,
in the days, I guess handshake was very important. You know, when you touch each other, you say that I'm gonna be safe to you, right? Like this whole safety thing with the handshake in the
mm,
business or whoever like wants they want to have a business, usually men together, they shake hand at the end when they sign the contract. You know, back in the day there was not a contract, you know, it was just like a simple handshake. But that handshake was the quality of the safety and the trust between those, let's say, two person.
mm,
For us was also the same. It's like, look, we are on the paper married or contractor or whatever, you know, that does not really, that just makes the complication of this modern life easier because it's much easier to go through things when you're married with your partner. Uh, they create certain obstacles for you to, at the end, get into the marriage, you know. But that's just for the convenience of it. So we are married, let's say. But in reality, we just handshook partner, you know. It's like, okay, look, we're gonna just like help each other to grow, you know. This is the path,
mm,
we're gonna go on it. And I put as much as I can on my side, and you put as much as you can on your side, but we move parallel, you know, we don't contradict each other. We
mm,
just, whoever grows in whatever direction, it's not gonna really create any obstacle here, right? But yeah, she's levitating now. So I gotta be afraid of that. So in that case, I guess I'm pretty proud of myself to see that she is just really levitating. It's like insane. It's just insane to me that how she does things these days. And I guess that's also very helpful for me, you know. Like
mm.
I learned and I get to be feminine myself. I get to just allow my, um, you know, my thing just happen. This is not easy, you know, like not every woman out there would be like, okay, I'm gonna live with mommy. It's not easy to live with me, you know what I'm saying? To put up with my shit is like insane. I
Mm.
sometimes think about it and I'm like, how do you do it? Or it's like she just simply are nice, you know. Like, okay, yeah, it's okay. I'll take care of you. It's okay. But I guess we take care of each other, huh?
Yeah. I think that you're actually opening up for something that I think is like the reason why we have the patriarchy in the way we do today. And it's 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 interesting because even you who, you know, have this level of consciousness and have an understanding and a respect for the feminine, even you are like, she's starting to levitate. This is scary. this is scary shit,
It
things are
is scary. If you
it
see
is
someone
scary.
levitating, you wouldn't be scared, you know? You would
Exactly.
be scared shitless. You would like, holy shit, why are you levitating? And I'm like, oh,
But I think
maybe it's
that
time.
this is also, this really speaks into the core wound of the feminine, is the erasure of the feminine due to fear. So in Scandinavia, we are largely, Christian, and so religion is a big part of the culture. And the women who sensed and felt and levitated, well, they were all burned. Like, this is a reality of our history, in this part of the world and in many parts of the world, but especially here, is that, many women were killed for
Yeah,
this. And why were they killed? I think it's because when we as humans, or as animals perhaps, we witness something that we do not quite understand, our instinct is, I don't understand, I must be safe. And so, kind of, a failing of recognizing something equals fear, and fear equals, like, I need to create protection, so I will attack, or I will destroy that which I do not understand, that which I fear. And I see that, when I, through the years have started to open up for the channel that I am, and when I start to receive, I'm met, with some curiosity, certainly, but I'm also met with fear. I try to, to be approachable, and I think I don't have the most threatening appearance, let's say. Um, but that's still, there is something when people sometimes see, the level of what is coming through this vessel, what is coming through this channel, which is, the feminine. It 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 can be very triggering, and I think that, um, it's interesting because it makes me also think of this framework of seeing that what we used to struggle with the most is actually what becomes our gift. And I felt that I struggled a lot with, being different. I felt I struggled a lot with being perceived, and I felt I struggled a lot with being misunderstood, or being someone who triggered other people simply by being who I am. And so, when I, walking into to early life and triggering all these people around you, and then, if you, like I, feel other people's feelings and what goes on within them, very much like it could just as well be my own, um, it becomes very uncomfortable to be the one who triggers others. But there is something that flows through us all, not just women, but flows through us all. But it increases when we allow ourselves to be open and to be in our feminine energy, because this is when we receive. And this is when we start to, receive visions of the future. Like, I'm also clairvoyant. So they're like, I receive things that I see or that I sense through my body. We all receive in different ways. We all have different senses. Some people receive words or sounds. Some people receive sight, smells, tastes. Like, there can be all these ways of receiving. But even myself, I have been so fearful of everything that I receive. So, and most of my life, I shut that down because it was just so scary. And, this weekend, I was initiated into, like, a shamanic practice from Greenland. So the Inuit people, um, the the indigenous people of Greenland. And, I learned how to travel with the drum. I learned how to travel to different worlds, and, meeting animals and spirits and all of these things. And I have to say, like, even for me, that there is a part of me where it's like, whoa, okay, this is amazing. But there is also a part of me that feels fear sometimes. because when we start to receive in such a way, it's like, okay, well, can then anything come in, and can I trust what I receive? Is it safe what I receive? What if I don't understand it? And then, learning to work with these energies, learning also to create boundaries, learning how to keep yourself safe is also building the confidence of like, okay, I have these way to keep myself safe. I have these people, I can call for backup if something happens. But I think it cultivates a deeper sense of safety, which then allows for a further opening. And so it continues on until, like you're a woman, we start to levitate.
And then you are burned.
And then we were burned. But
I
thankfully,
mean,
we have more and more conscious men, right? Because the fear is in the unconscious, but love and acceptance and curiosity and protection, truly protect, like the man is the leader and the protector. The masculine is the protector of the feminine. So if someone came today and said, Ara, your woman, she's doing all these things and she's receiving and she's starting to levitate, and you know what, we should burn her. I
yeah.
know that you will not let that happen. You will be like, over my
I
dead
mean,
body.
in this era, no. Maybe I was
Exactly.
like 1,000 years ago. I was like, oh, holy shit, really? Yeah, let's do that.
Just a few
That's
hundred
just
years ago. A few
yeah.
hundred years ago,
It's a very yeah. It's a very sad thing to
Mm,
really see how, especially Europe, really erased her feminine part. Because other parts
yeah.
of the world, if you look at it, they all have the feminine part kind of intact because most of the spirituality is very feminine. You go to India, everything is very feminine. Like you cannot find masculinity in India, for example. You go to South America, everything is very feminine. You cannot find masculinity, but it's because masculinity doesn't rule, doesn't dominate there. It's more like a mother dominates.
Mm,
So at the end, whatever that the mother says. But Europe is like at the end, whatever that the father say. So the father says the last word, but I would say in East or like um, South America or Africa, the last word is usually comes from the mother.
mm,
So Europe, it kind of based on Christianity, in a way, Christianity saw this whole thing to be a very big problem. It's like, okay, shit, our religion is pretty dominant. Our religion is concerned with taking people to heaven and not allowing them to go to hell. So you got to be like really restrict because so many other religions are like, okay, you do you. I don't care. You're going to be either reborn again, you're going to get to this whole suffering again, or everything happens to you, and you're the problem on your own. I don't want to take to heaven or hell. But
mm,
Christianity and Islam and Judaism, these three Abrahamic religion, they're pretty hand in hand. They're just very concerned with taking people to heaven, and that creates so much dominance, right? Like if you say no, I don't want to go to heaven, it's like shit, you gotta go to heaven. Otherwise, based on these rules, Judaism says this, Christianity says this, Islam says this. All of them, it kind of end up with we gotta kill you because you're a problem and you cannot be solved. Therefore, either we gotta take care of you or you will cause problem for us along the way. And this whole womanhood is a big problem. It's like huge problem when your taboo is like, okay, sex is the first thing you shouldn't do if you want to go to heaven. Like this, all of these things are just like, and then women are there like, but wait a second, we just like existentially are very attractive. It's like existentially, like this man sees me very attractive, but now it's like wh- why I have to be like the one that has to be punished, right? But then the religion, the men usually enjoy the punishment as well, because they fetishize about all of these things. And that's just like the tabooness of sex even makes things worse and worse. Therefore, they just want to get rid of the whole, thing. Therefore, they can say, oh, I am a religious person because I just killed a witch. Like, how can you just like not call me the most highest religious person because I just got rid of this, let's say, what do you call it when someone is very enchanting or something? I don't know. Let's say this
Mm.
enchanting situation that the woman had in Europe, they were like pretty uh, aware and available to the existence. Therefore, they could just really communicate with this whole existence, right? And they alchemizing things, and then the man were like, "What? No, no, you cannot do that. That's only God's will. Oh shit, you gotta go to hell for that." And that's how it is, right? Then they killed all the religiousness of the whole thing. Like actually, there was no religiousness left, only the business left. And now that's what we are dealing with: the business
Mm.
of Christianity and Islam. You know, that's just the whole, and of course Judaism. These three just dominating the world for their own purpose. Someone wants to either make the whole world Christian, or the whole world Muslim, or the whole world Jews. That's just how they want to take advantage of this whole religion. Therefore, women have no place in it. It's like
Mm.
this whole tabooness of life in the eyes of religion created this misery for women, I would say. And of course, also, I don't want to um, undermined other religions' oppression over women. Hinduism pretty much they do the same. They are also very bad, but they have like different levels of discrimination inside themselves. They have like caste system, so they just like are more in battle with themselves. They don't really care so much, but at the end they don't care about you too. It's like, okay, you're gonna live so many lives. You will come back. You will take care of your karma. We don't give a shit. You do whatever you want to do at the end. But
Mm.
other religions are just a little bit more provocative. And I'm so happy that in this era, at least so many people get to become a little bit more informed about the reality of things. Things are a little bit more available to the public. At least we have internet. We can just look up things and know, okay, this is critical thinking. I understand that women have their own way of dealing things, doing things, and I understand that things are a little bit bigger than my perception of reality anyway, because I see every single day someone comes up with something totally new and mind blowing, in a way, and it's just like metaphysically not understandable. So I better say I don't know anything. Perhaps if someone knows something, uh, maybe that's their way of doing things, and maybe I don't know shit. Maybe people can really levitate, and I don't know. Maybe when Mammy says Aura levitates, maybe she really levitates. Maybe it's not metaphorically, but we don't know. We literally don't know. So
Mm.
that's how it is.
Mommy, I
Yeah, yeah.
I want to thank you for the conversation, and I'm running low on battery on my end, so I'll have to be signing off, lest I
Beautiful.
get forcefully taken off suddenly, and then I'll leave it up to you if you want to continue.
No, I think I'm also pretty good for today. It was really nice. I want to check on a little bit quick. You don't go anywhere. I will say a proper goodbye to you, but just like let me quickly see who's around and who's gonna be around. They know that I'm gonna stay like this for the next few minutes to show my gratitude and love. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me and us be here. I really am very grateful, and Ali is showing her a small heart. Beautiful, yeah. And really, honestly, Ali, thank you. It was great. And maybe we hop on a call like this again. It was pretty cool, pretty nice, pretty chill. Maybe next time we do the same thing. We chill a little bit more, huh?
You never know what you get with me. That's all I can
Exactly.
say.
That's good. That's good. Okay, everyone.
Thank you, Mark.
Much love to you. Thank you for being here. And much love, Ali. Thank you so much. See you on the other side.
Ciao.